Hello, it's Bishop Mark. I'm in a different spot because I have to film something here and show you a map. Today is Luke chapter 2, verses 1 to 4. Now, 1 to 4 talks about the area where Jesus was born. And so I thought today I would show you a map of that area so we know exactly where they are. But first, I'm going to read 4 lines of Luke's Gospel, chapter 2, verses 1 to 4, and then I'm going to show them on the map. Here we go. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that the whole world should be enrolled. This was the first enrollment when Quirinius was governor of Syria. So what's an enrollment? Enrollment is everyone has to go to where they were from and they have to be counted. Do you remember I said the Romans were leading? Well, this guy Quirinius was the Roman person in that area, and the Romans called it Syria. You might have heard of Syria as a country. It's a different place. At that time, all of the Israel now and Palestine was in this section of Syria, which is the Roman name for it. And this guy Quirinius was the head of it. And so he wanted what's called a census, which means he wanted to count everyone. Okay, next. So all went to be enrolled, each to his own town. And Joseph too went up from Galilee, from the town of Nazareth to Judea, the city of David, that is called Bethlehem, because he was the house and family of Bethlehem. Now, let's explain all this to you. You've heard of Bethlehem. Where was Jesus and Mary born? They were born in Bethlehem. And you just found out that it was where King David in the Old Testament was also born. And you remember that Joseph was of the house of David. So, Joseph has to go to Bethlehem to be counted. Now, let me show you where it is. Now, this is a map of, do you recognize this at all? This is called the Mediterranean Sea. It's right under Europe there. So can you see that's France? And that's Spain. And this is Italy. Isn't it neat how Italy looks like a boot? See, Italy looks like a boot. So this is the Mediterranean Sea. Now over here on this side of the Mediterranean Sea, I'm going to blow this up. This is a place called Turkey. Doesn't it have a funny name? But it has nothing to do with gobble gobble. So Turkey, though, at the time of Jesus and Paul, that was called Asia Minor. So many things in the Acts of the Apostles of Luke happened in this area. But right now we're on this area. When you hear of the Holy Land, we're talking about this. This is the Holy Land. And right now in the world, this part is called Israel. That part is called Palestine right there. And then Jordan and Lebanon. But so that is where it is in the world. So you see, we're talking about right this area in the world. Now let's look at a map. This is a map of the Holy Land. That would, at that time, the whole thing was Palestine. And it was the time of Jesus. So this is a map, not now, but at the time of Jesus. Now on this map of the Holy Land, this one, you can always tell the Holy Land because right there and there are water. Now, let me show you those water. Here in the Holy Land, there and there are the water. And this one is called the Sea of Galilee, and this one is called the Dead Sea. It's called the Dead Sea because it's so salty that nothing really grows in there. And if you go in there, you just float. Because you float in salty water. Did you know that? So this not very, things don't happen much in that Dead Sea. It's a fascinating place. Now, up here, the Sea of Galilee. Do you remember I said that Jesus was born Mary was born in Nazareth of Galilee? Well, that's because Galilee is like the state and Nazareth is like the town. So there's Galilee, this whole area, and there's Nazareth right there. Now, the Sea of Galilee has very important in the Bible. We'll get to that. Like right here, there's a place called Capernaum. This is where Jesus met many of the apostles. It's very important, the Sea of Galilee. But right now in this story, we're talking about Nazareth. And that is where Mary saw the angel Gabriel. Now, way down here, see, there's Nazareth up. Way down here, near the Dead Sea, do you see that? That's Jerusalem, which is the holiest city in the world, really. It's the holiest city for all the Jewish people, all the Christians, and all the Muslims. And it's on top of a mountain. So this is a mountain. And here, 6 miles below, is Bethlehem. Now, we've been talking about Mary visiting Elizabeth. Elizabeth lived near Jerusalem, right about here. So Mary, when she heard about Elizabeth, went all this way, and then she went all the way back. And now in this gospel, Joseph, because he's at the house of Bethlehem here, has to take Mary, who's with child. She is going to have a baby, and take her all the way there. Now this is, if a bird was to fly from there to there, it would be 80 miles. 80 miles. Does that seem far to you? Well, if you're on a donkey and the road goes, and then there's a whole bunch of mountains here, well, it's a lot more than 80 miles. It's a long trip. So Mary went down when she was just heard about her baby to see Elizabeth here. She went back up, and then Joseph has to go to Bethlehem. And so he goes all this way there to Bethlehem, which is right under Jerusalem. So here's where Jesus was born, and here is where Jesus died. And today, this whole area, called Judea here, is Israel. It includes Jerusalem, but Palestine today includes Bethlehem, but not Jerusalem. So Palestine comes in like here today. Okay, do you think that was helpful to you? I hope so. And we're going to hear all about Jesus' birth in the next one. Have a good day. Peace.